So this kind of continued. So my grandpa basically, like, one of his teachings is like, in terms of heredity versus environment. Like, my grandpa's whole thing was, don't blame anything. Just take responsibility. But it's like, dude. So it's just like, just go all out and just. But I would feel like he's full of shit. It's like just go all out and just work hard, and that's all that matters. But even like working hard, that might be genetically based, and that might be innate. It might be due to astrology. It might be due to past lives and stuff. But like, no, but he's like, no, just work hard. And I'm like, no, not working hard isn't necessarily always the most important thing. Like, I was automatically really good at basketball and stuff, and I had a lot of help. I had a good dad who helped me with my basketball. I had basketball court in my backyard. There's a lot of factors that are, but my grandpa would be like, well, it doesn't matter. You can't change those circumstances. All that you can work on is your software, upgrading your software, and working hard and going all out. And it's like, but I'd be like, dude, that's kind of bullshit. Because another thing he'd be like, don't label people like schizophrenic or because it could be, first off, it could be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We know that there is the like suggestibility where you tell someone you're schizophrenic and they can act like it, and there is those types of aspects. But he'd be like, you don't want to label people because then you can't really see what they really are. But don't label people, but just go all out, or don't be like, I'm a man, or I'm a Jew, or I'm a black person, or I'm a woman, but just whatever you are, just you're not any of those. You're just an energy event, and just go all out and just expand your awareness and inquiry. And I'd be, it sounds so good. It sounds so amazing. And like, that's my grandpa's philosophy. And it's like, oh wow, that's refreshing. That sounds great. Oh, that makes me so, that really motivates me. But it's like, but I would be like, well, listen, grandpa, there's some people who are like retarded, right? They have like, or very low IQ, or they have like a disease like schizophrenia, or you could say, right? But my grandpa but I'd be like, they can't, for them, it's just like, no, just working hard and just going all out. That's not, not everybody's, but my grandpa would be like, yeah, well, I don't know, but you just go all out, just work hard, just go all out. And, and it's like, I don't know, but, but like I said, my impression of my grandpa is he from based off what books I read and stuff where they talked about this, it's like he's more of a motivation speaker. He's more of like a human potential type of guy. And that's not what the fuck I needed. I needed someone to help me. I discovered the theory of everything. The reason I showed my mom and dad was so I can get their support. I discovered the theory of everything. I needed support. I didn't need to be like thrown to the side and be like, oh, you just need to be independent, and that's just, you're just, the reason why you made up the quadrant model is because it's an ego strategy to stay dependent on your parents and just go all out and just work hard. No, I discovered theory of everything. I can use some support. I can accomplish a lot of big things with basketball, with music, if I would have had some support. But my grandpa, I feel like he messed things up really bad. And then the way that he was like, oh, it wasn't the shoot away machine that messed up your shot. It was because you're playing against bigger, better players. And he didn't believe it. He didn't know about the shoot away machine. He didn't know how good I was. He lived in Kauai. So it's like, I feel like he really didn't help the situation. But like I said, but he'd be like, oh, you just blame me. Oh, I'm the bad guy. He'd be fucking like, he would be sarcastic and like, oh, I'm the bad guy. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. And he's like insinuating that it's really my fault, right? But he's like, it's all my fault. I'm the one who's the problem. I'm the one to blame. And I'd be like, no, you're not the one to blame necessarily. It was a tragic situation. It would have been regardless because of the shoot away machine. It messed up my shot, and I needed to fix it. And me and my dad were trying to. My dad shot with me every day my whole life. My grandpa would go, why did you have your dad shoot with you? Didn't you realize you didn't know about basketball? No, my dad did know about basketball. He was the reason I was such a good shooter. He shot with me every day my whole life. He played with me every single day my whole life. That was my dad's that was his favorite thing. But now my grandpa's like, oh, he hates basketball now. Yeah, because of the shoot away. But, well, why did you have your dad help you? Why did you want your dad to help you? Why wouldn't you just be independent? No, fuck you. My dad helped me my whole life with the basketball, but it was a tragic situation with the shoot away machine. That's it. Just get that through your head. But then my grandpa's like, they made it into such big things. It must have been a problem with me. Oh, it's because you're maybe obsessive compulsive disorder. My mom be like, maybe because you're trying to make things happen and it was your will and it was trying to diagnose all this shit. No, it was a shoot away machine. That's it. Now let's move on. I want to show my dad, listen, this is what happened, but I don't need to. But it would be nice if I could just show him, listen, it was a shoot away machine. Now let's move on. But why is everybody being such weirdos, dude? And I say it's because of my grandpa fucking, It's so annoying, but you know, like I said, oh, it's all my fault. I'm the one to blame. Oh, it's all my fault. I'm all my fault. Trying to insinuate it's my fault. No, I'm not saying that. It would have been bad regardless because of the shoot away machine. Now let's move on. We don't need to get involved in stupid drama bullshit like, oh, it's all my fault. Just shut the fuck up. It was not necessarily it was a tragic situation because of the shoot away machine. Now let's move on. You know? But like I said, my grandpa really taught me a lot of stuff. Like, he broke me out of the leftist way of being. My whole life I was a leftist communist, kind of anti-white. I saw myself as Jewish, and that's the way I was. My grandpa helped me to break free of that, you know, his teachings, you know. But, you know, like one thing that I noticed was, like I said, I went to the Agape church, and it seemed like a Jewish lady, and she was saying, like, you know, yeah, we are gods. But the way she was saying it, my grandpa would say that there's a difference between inspiration and ego. And, you know, my grandpa would be like, yes, everyone's God because everything is one, and God, you know, all that there is God, so you are God. But also, that can come from the ego, or that can come from inspiration and the truth, but it can also come from the ego. And if it's coming from the ego is an illusion. You want to transcend the ego. So I understand all that. But from this lady, it seemed to be more like of an anti-Christian, anti-white type of thing. Like, oh, we are gods. And that's what you see in the Hindu mythology when the demons who represent the Dravidians were against the Aryans and the Brahmins and the religion, and they were communists. Like Shukracharya, who was the leader of the demons, who was a planet Venus, who was Satan. He was a communist. He was against religion. He was against, he wanted to destroy the Brahmins. He wanted to destroy religion. And the Brahmins represent the Aryans, the white race. So I started to figure all this stuff out after all the stuff I went through. And I'm like, okay, so I'm starting to see this stuff. But, you know, so that's kind of where I'm at now. And, like, when I read the Bible, I see it, and I try to understand it through my grandpa's lens. Like, you know, if the Israelites were in the flow, they wouldn't have been enslaved. And yes, it's a victim blaming type of stance, but I kind of recognize that, you know, there is a dialectic. There is a, you know, the victim isn't always innocent. And I understand that even in my case. But in my case, I discovered theory of everything. I'm doing good. I could use some support. I can use some validation. I can use some, you know, I could see my mom and dad. Now, I talked with my friend, and my friend who was my dad's next door neighbor when I grew up, and he's like, well, you know, your dad might be worried that if you talk to him, there might be like a fight. You know, if he sees you, there might be like an explosion. I'm like, no, that's the thing. They haven't never given me a chance. It's been since high school. They think I'm still the same person in high school. No, if I was talking to my dad, I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to cause any explosion. I'm not going to do any. I'm just going to, if you know, he might want to cause an explosion. I just want to talk, you know, I don't need to talk about basketball, but I would like to talk about basketball and explain to him what happened, show him about the shooting machine, show him how I shoot now, and figure stuff out. But you know, my grandpa's like, that's going to cause so much problems. Your dad hates basketball now. Yeah, these people are so fucking weird. Yes, it was tragic at that time in high school with the shooting machine. Yes, I tried to get my dad to help me. My dad was helping me, and it led to a lot of problems. So my dad wants nothing to do with, he wants nothing to do with basketball now. Okay, whatever. It would be normal to just be able to talk to him and show him that I fixed my shot. You know, people grow, people progress. I can show him. There's not going to be any fight. You know, it doesn't need to be a fight. People progress, people understand things, people learn things. You know, I would like to get videos so I can study the swag flow. I can study that stuff, and I can go into details about that. But it's just, I think it's stupid what they're doing to me, what they've done to me, what they're continuing to do. Now, I needed to go through what I went through so I could, you know, understand, get to the knowledge and understanding that I have now that I wouldn't have probably if I wouldn't have gone through all this hell. But now we can move on, and we can, you know, grow up. And you know, yes, it was hard. Basketball was a touchy subject in high school because of the shoot away and to mess up my shot. But I didn't know it was a shoot away at that time, you know. But it was tough. And now my dad hates. But you know, it doesn't have to remain that way. Now I can show, hey, listen, we can understand what happened. I can show you with the shoot away machine how, you know, I can't tell you guys because I don't want to make a shooter sink, but how it messed up how I moved into shots. How, you know, if you look at the videos when I first had a shoot away machine, I was shooting really good. And because I was automatic, but the way I was practicing, it was messing up the way I shot. And then my dad tried to fix it, did it the wrong way. I could show him what good shooters do and the problems with the shoot away machine, how that was going to mess me up regardless. And it really did. I was amazing. My grandpa doesn't know how amazing I was. I was really incredible. And I knew how incredible you were. No, you didn't fucking know. You weren't even there. So stop trying to pretend. But my point is, I don't I'm sick. I'm think that I'm being mistreated. I think that it's stupid. Now we can move on and we can have a normal relationship with me, my mom, and dad. Now, with my grandpa, I want to study more and I want to understand the flow. I want to study more and do all that stuff. But I feel like his presence has not been helpful. It's not helpful. I feel like ever since I was young, I felt like his presence was not helpful for me. I always felt like a negative type of thing. Like he doesn't help the situation. I feel like it's full of bullshit. It's bullshit. It's just the presence is, he talks about being a beneficial presence, and I don't feel like he is, but at the same time, I'm grateful for him because I learned a lot from him. And, I would like to continue learning. I want to understand the flow, but at the same time, with my family situation, he'd be like, oh, it's all my fault then. Oh, it's all my... No, that's not what the fuck I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this. The shoot-away machine was a problem, and he did not help the situation. And I do think he made things worse. And he's like, I'm the only one who didn't think you were crazy, Ryan. The only one in your family. He's trying to insinuate, listen, you are crazy, Ryan. Everybody in your family thought so. No, not everybody in my family thought so. Number one. Number two, he's the one who fucking made me crazy, I think, because I was isolated, alienated. He's the one who's trying to make me independent. He's the one who's like, oh, and confusing the hell out of me with his ideas. And even if they're full of contradictions, he's trying to teach me Dr. Horace stuff, but he doesn't even teaching me the right stuff. He's confusing me more with the rationalistic stuff when Dr. Horace was a new age guy. He made me crazy. And he made me crazy with all the victim blaming and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, so I look at it and I feel bad for myself, what I went through. I was fucking thrown to the side. I discovered Theory of Everything. I didn't get support. It's tragic. And yes, I did lose it. But I'm like, dude, I was with my grandpa who did an amazing job in making me fucking go crazy. He really did an amazing job. Like, I couldn't think of any better way to really just torture my mind than what they did to me and what he did to me. But at the same time, I'm grateful because I learned a lot from him. And now I think I'm at a high level of understanding of reality, So, all I have to say is a shoot-away machine, that was a problem, and now we can move on. And I'd like to be able to talk to my dad and move on and have a normal relationship. I haven't gotten a chance to do that. They haven't given me a chance. Like my friend's dad was like, well, you might be afraid that I'm going to explode on him or something. No, I'm not going to. It wouldn't happen. And if you don't give someone a chance to even attempt to do it, what's the point of that? I haven't even gotten a chance to talk to my dad on the phone. And my mom, I haven't got a chance to see her. They're not even giving me a chance. So it's stupid.